Hello, this is Idodmg and welcome back to the channel. In this Swords of Legends online video, I want to talk to you about this new update that introduces the very first raid to the game. There's many other highlights in this patch as well, and I can't wait to talk to you about it and share my thoughts on this patch. One last thing I would like to mention before we jump in is I do have an affiliate link for Swords of Legends online, so if you haven't picked the game up yet and you're planning on it, please feel free to check out that link down below. And if you purchase the game through the Gameforge website, it will help support the channel. So I appreciate the consideration. Now let's go ahead and talk Swords of Legends online. The new raid is definitely the highlight of the patch, the DMGCREW Palace or something like that. I'm sure I got the name totally wrong, and that's all right. This will be the first raid introduced to Swords of Legends online, and you can have a party between 10 and 20 players. But the raid will offer 6 bosses. You can get 1 reward per boss per week. There's going to be 2 different modes of the raid. There's going to be the easy mode and normal mode. Now, normal mode will come out on July 29th, and this is the main progression difficulty mode. So let's go ahead and talk about that first. Normal mode will have a recommended gear of level 55. You can enter with lower level gear, but you're probably going to have a hard time. The monsters in there will drop level 75 gear. You can also find PvE seal stones rank 3, tier 2 talisman recipes, and more. Seal stones are used for upgrading your gear, and then talismans are used to enchant your gear. We'll talk about this a little bit later in the video when we come to the crafting part, and I also have a guide talking about how to upgrade your gear as well. I will have that linked down in the description and pinned in the comments below. Another huge part of the normal mode raid is you cannot use matchmaking. Now, you can use the recruitment tool in game, which means that someone has to manually go through and build a group. You cannot just simply matchmake it and get matched up with a pickup group or randoms. So that will be an interesting change, and I'm really curious to see how the community will adapt to that. I also mentioned that there would be an easy mode of this raid, and that will be added later on August 1st. Now, the easy mode is recommended level 50 gear, and it is really for finding collectibles and pet-related items. And for the easy mode version of the raid, you can use matchmaking. They mentioned in the patch notes that the easy mode is meant for practicing and kind of getting a taste of the raid. So that's the new raid that's coming out, and that's what you can expect from that. Now let's go ahead and talk about pet evolution. This is actually a really huge thing that I personally have been waiting for in the game. So if you've seen the end game guide, you know what the mysterious parchments are. If you haven't seen the video, just real quick, the mysterious parchments are used to purchase currently level 60 gear, because the way it's set up is your pet level or your pet's understanding, which is increased by purchasing items under the crafting tab of the pet UI, is what decides what level of parchments you receive. Right now you can get level 60 parchments, which you then use to buy level 60 gear. Well, when this patch comes out, you'll be able to get 1,000 understanding of the level 60 parchments and then unlock the level 75 version of the parchments, which in turn will allow you to use those level 75 parchments to purchase level 75 gear, or craft them, I guess, as they call it in game. But it's basically the vendor on your pet that we talked about in the end game guide. And yeah, the way that you do that, like I said, is you get your 1,000 understanding, and then on the reset, it will increase your pet's understanding to the next level. So you can buy those increased parchments. This improvement's going to be absolutely huge, because it's just going to help you out with gearing so much more, so that you can just get gear in another alternative way in case you're having bad RNG during the raid, since you only have 6 shots per week to get the gear you want. Now, they are also going to be adding quite a bit to crafting, and a while ago I sat down and tried to figure out how to craft the better recipes of the talismans, which is used to enchant your item slots. And well, the reason I couldn't find out how is because it's not in the game yet. They're going to be adding it in this patch. They're going to be adding in the PvP and PvE sealstone recipes, the tier 3 recipes, and those will be bought from the vendors. I'm assuming the level 75 gear is what you will need these tier 3 sealstones for. They're also going to be adding in level 3 socket recipes from vendors. Just keep in mind that in order to craft a rank 3 gem, you will have to have a material that is found from hard mode dungeons, called the Lotus Heart Fire. And talismans that I talked about just briefly, they're going to be adding the enchanting part of the crafting interface. I spent, I don't know, probably 30 minutes trying to find the enchanting trainer. Yeah, it just wasn't in the game yet, but it will be after this patch. and then you can craft those tier 2 talismans. I'm super pumped for that. It's very minimal, but it will definitely help increase that little bit of damage. They're also going to have the weapon embracer recipes for talismans will drop from the new raid. Now the trouser talisman recipes you can find on the Blood Ruvia vendor, which will be really easy to obtain. And then the robe talisman recipe will be found on the Turquoise Lantern vendor. So the Blood Ruvia and Turquoise Lantern have no caps on their currency, so those will be easy to obtain. Hopefully, we got to figure out how much prestige it will require. But so for these new talisman recipes, there's going to be some materials required, obviously, to craft them. You're going to need a new fabric type that drops from the new raid. You're going to also need to make refined and excellent quality materials through your crafting bag, and this is what I'm talking about here. So you'll have to plus and go out and actually gather materials, and it'll also require silk that you could already get in the game through just playing, and I think from dungeons primarily. One last thing for crafting, they're going to add a 14 slot bag recipe, and in order to make the new bag, you will have to have materials from the new raid. As I said at the beginning of the video, I was going to save best for last, and it's true. This is the part that I am absolutely the most excited for, and that is those mysterious parchment boxes. When they very first released the game, you could only get 10 boxes a week with 12 parchments inside of each box. And then about a week or two later, they increased it to 14. And then this patch, they're going to increase the cap to 16 boxes a week. That's going to be absolutely huge with helping getting gear a little bit quicker. They're also adding the Gold of the Four Seas event that happens on Saturdays and Sundays. It's about a 2-hour-long fishing event that you can go do. It's relatively easy, but they're going to have a super rare chance to have a level 75 belt and gloves drop from this fishing event. Just to kind of incentivize you to go participate in that event a little bit more, I'm assuming. Last but not least, they're improving the mentor system. They're finally adding the vendor to the game that I spent like a freaking hour looking for. Just wasn't in the game yet. It seems like I'll need a little bit more patience, huh? Anyway, they're going to be adding the vendor, and with that will come new rewards and new things to work on with your mentor and your mentee. If you haven't looked into that system, it's definitely worth it. There's quite a bit there that you can get just by passively playing with your friends. Of course, there will be bug fixes and all that good stuff, as always with every patch, but I'm really looking forward to the new raid. I'm curious to see how the community is going to respond to that requiring a pre-made group for the raid. I'm curious to see if the community is going to be open to just, picking up groups and playing with random players, or if they're going to be a little bit nitpicky in who they take. And I don't know, it'll be curious to see how hard the bosses are. I'm pretty excited to check it out. I'm also really excited to be able to get the level 75 gear, the new enchanting recipes. I'm really just excited for the entire patch. That's going to wrap it up for this Swords of Legends online video. If you enjoyed this video and all the content on the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's free. Make sure you have that notification bell set to all notifications to get notified when I post new videos and also when I go live. Your support means the absolute world to me. If you decide you want to take it a step further and consider joining the channel down below and becoming a member, that'd be super awesome. There's perks down there for you to check out too. We also have the super thanks if you enjoyed this video that much. That would really help me out. I appreciate you so much. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.